Hi, class. So this week we'll talk about ethics in organizations that we've experienced and then tell a story. So I think that I'm reminded of my most recent job position. I work in the financial industry, so I'm in real estate and it's attached to sales. I'm a loan officer, so I help people secure financing for their homes. Usually sales and those kinds of industries are associated with pretty aggressive goals and revenues monitored pretty closely, which I know dictates a lot of decision making when it comes to managers and owners of companies. I think another important note is to let you know that the example I'm giving happened in the year 2013, around that time frame. And if you're not aware, 2008 was a very tumultuous time for not only the mortgage industry, but basically our economy as a whole. We saw a huge downturn, and how that affected my industry specifically is, quite a few laws and legislations were passed to protect consumers. And to take it even a step further, a lot of brokers were held criminally responsible for some kind of predatory loans that were made. And I think that that's important to note only because we're talking about ethics, and I feel like my example comes well after a time where many brokers were punished, sent to jail, their license were revoked, and they faced monetary penalties. So to see somebody still acting in an unethical manner after the market saw such a shakeup was kind of coincidental to me. But everybody has their own opinions. So the example I'm giving isn't one specific example. It's more of my experience over time. As I got to work at this place, it's a smaller place, one owner, really, no HR director, nobody that I could really go to. So as I progressed in my employment there, I would notice that the boss, the owner, would make comments. He was very derogatory towards different racial groups of people, ethnicities, genders, which is crazy because I'm a woman, and I definitely was on the receiving end of many of his negative comments. So coming into the company, I was told that the culture of the company, of the organization, was one thing. I thought that we all had the same views and viewpoints moving forward, to really help people secure financing and earn a living doing so. But it really was clear after working there for quite a while that the owner had some real different ethical views on things that directly were in contradiction from what my ethics were believed to be. So I feel like this ties into the human being theory. I think that sales is really based on the human relations aspect part of things. To kind of look at it from an outside point of view, I think by making that connection with a client, you're much more likely to build trust and make the sale. And so to take that a step further, your employer and your manager really needs to let you, the employee, have the freedom to make decisions on the fly and do what you think is best for the situation. I think that customer service is all based on human relations. And so, rather than looking at the scientific method where everything is very clear cut and described how it's supposed to happen, I think that each situation in sales is different. And so it really adapts to the human theory a little bit more. So to kind of wrap it up, in conclusion, I don't think that I could have looked the other way, and so I ended up leaving the company. I know that the book and the text mentions, looking at being a whistleblower, maybe, reporting this to somebody, talking to somebody. Working for a small company is definitely a different dynamic because, and especially being in sales where you rely on leads and information to make your sales. So, if I were to go to this certain person who would be the owner of the company and let him know that I, really had a conflict with his values, I just don't feel like that would be received well. And so, like I said, I ended up leaving the company, which was difficult because, had worked there a long time and I have quite a few friends that still work there. So it was a little difficult, but in looking at the chapters, it asked you to evaluate your own moral code, your own ethics, and these were not things that I was willing to budge on. So, here you are. You live and you learn. And that's my story for today based on the texts from these 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.